Hey everybody, in today's video we're going to be taking a look at the new Z mount 105mm Micro. This is a lens that a lot of you have been waiting for. The 105mm Macro's finally been announced. Now, I'm going to do a couple of comparisons in this video. We're going to talk about some of the new features, just explain in detail what this lens is and what it's going to offer you. I'm also going to compare it to the F mount 105mm Macro as well. Now do keep in mind that this is a pre-production unit, so anything that I show you in this video, this is all pre-production, it's not a final production unit. I will do a video later on around a full production unit and comparing it directly against the 105 F mount, but this should hopefully give you enough insight into whether or not this is a lens that's going to be good enough for you, or if it's a lens that's going to be right for your style of photography. I'm out and about and this is where I've been using this lens. So I thought I'd also shoot the introduction to this video in the similar location where I've been doing a lot of these tests. I've got some great shots to show you. I've got some really good example shots that I've taken with this, and I've also got some good comparisons to show you as well. So there's lots to get into. I'd like to start with the lens itself, the design of the lens when it comes to what's on the outside, what's on the inside, and so on. When it comes to the design of this lens, there's a couple of things that are new, a couple of things that are different to previous Z mount lenses, and then there's a couple of things that we're used to by now as well. So the lens itself, a little bit longer than the F mount 105mm Macro, but it is noticeably lighter. Not too light, still is a substantial lens and still easy to use handheld or tripod mounted, but it is definitely noticeably lighter compared to the F mount 105. Now, a couple of things that are the same. We have a big manual focusing ring in the middle of the lens, and then we also have a function ring that's customizable as you are used to with previous Z mount lenses. We also have the same display that you see on higher end Z mount lenses as well. This display can show you things like aperture. It can show you your focusing distances. And it can also show you a reproduction ratio as well. You also then have a lens function button, again like previous Z mount lenses. This is in line with the 24 to 70 2.8, the 14 to 24 2.8 and so on. A couple of things that are a little bit different. We do have a different Nikon S logo. This is different from the Nikon S logos that we've seen in previous lenses. This is obviously just a change to the overall design, and it might be the case that all lenses going forward have this new Nikon S logo, but it is different from the previous one. It's also got VR, so there is an optical VR element in the lens itself. That's going to work with the in-body stabilization system that you have in the Z5, Z6, Z7, Z6 II, Z7 II, and so on. Even if you were using this lens on a Z50, it would still technically be stabilized because you have that optical VR element in the lens. But if you have a camera that has an in-body stabilization system, it's obviously using both together. There's two switches on the lens. We have a switch for autofocus and manual focus. That's obviously on a lot of other Z mount lenses as well. And then we have a switch for its focusing distances. So you can have it set to full. That means that the lens can fully focus from minimum focusing distance all the way up to its infinity focusing distance, or you can set it to 0.5 meters to 0.29 meters. That means that if you are only wanting the camera to focus in that macro range, you can limit to the macro range, or you can limit to the full range. Strangely, if you compare that to other macro lenses, they would often have the full range, which includes infinity to macro, or they would have something like 0.5 meters to infinity, which stops the lens from focusing in that manual focusing range. So a little bit of a difference there when it comes to the choice of focusing distances. Now, the most surprising thing about this lens is that you cannot use it with a teleconverter. You cannot use it with the 1.4 times or the 2 times Z mount teleconverters, which is a bit of a shame really, especially considering that the F mount could be used with the F mount teleconverters. That might be a really big problem for you. It would have been nice to be able to have this lens, a 2 times teleconverter, and then giving you effectively a 210mm macro. That would have been really nice, but unfortunately that's not the case. Maybe down the line there's a longer macro lens, that's why they've made that decision. I don't know why that decision is the way that it is, but the lens can't be used with teleconverters. So when it comes to comparing this lens against the F-mount 105 macro, a couple of things to keep in mind here. The picture quality difference is to be expected. As we've seen with previous Z-mount lenses, they all perform incredibly well when it comes to sharpness, detail, chromatic aberrations, flaring, and so on. And this 105mm is no exception. It's possibly one of the sharpest 105mm lenses I've ever seen, and when you compare that against the F-mount 105, it's actually a little bit unfair considering how old the F-mount 105 macro is, but you can quite clearly see that there is a huge difference in picture quality and sharpness. Whether the lenses are wide open or whether the lenses are stopped down, there is almost no point where the F-mount becomes as sharp or even as close to the level of detail and sharpness that you get from the Z-mount 105. So for those of you who want the kind of ultimate in terms of macro picture quality, this is pretty much it. And it will be a significant jump up from the F-mount 105. Now when it comes to focusing speed, as we've come to expect from Z-mount lenses, this lens focuses really quickly, whether you're using it for macro, whether you're using it for normal everyday photography like portraiture, videos and so on. This lens has a closest focusing distance of 29 centimeters, a little bit closer than the F-mount equivalent. And it also works fantastically well from a video point of view. That's one of the things that wasn't always too great with the F-mount. It did make a lot of noise when it was focusing. One of the things that you'll see happen with Nikon macro lenses, this is the same for the F mount and this is the same for the Z mount as well, is that their aperture changes with their focusing distance. Now, yes, both of these lenses are 2.8s, but both of the lenses work the same when you use them at their closest focusing distance, and that means that their aperture will appear to change on the back of the camera. When you're using the Z-mount 105 at its closest focusing distance, your aperture setting will be f4.5. When you're using the F-mount 105mm macro at its closest focusing distance, its aperture setting was f4.8. So they are very similar in that regard. You can use f2.8 from pretty much anywhere from infinity down to about 1.5 meters. So anything below or closer than 1.5 meters, you will see that your aperture value will start to change away from 2.8. You will not be able to choose f2.8. Hey everybody, I was just editing this and I thought that I didn't really explain why this is happening. And I felt like I was going to get lots of questions about why this happens in Nikon lenses. So, to try and explain this in as simple terms as possible. When you're using a macro lens, any macro lens, this happens with any macro lens from any brand, as the reproduction ratio increases, or as you start to use the lens closer to 1:1, what happens is the amount of light that reaches the sensor becomes lower or the image becomes darker. Now, the manufacturer could choose to continue to show you what's known as the nominal maximum aperture, and in that instance the manufacturer would continue to show you as shooting at f2.8. However, your effective maximum aperture would have changed, implying that the sensor is receiving less light. Nikon want to make sure that their micro lenses are as accurate as possible, so they show you the effective maximum aperture, and in this lens's instance, that's f4.5. This is a common occurrence with all macro lenses. It's just up to the manufacturer to either show you the effective maximum aperture changing with the reproduction ratio, or they decide to show you the standard maximum aperture at f2.8. In that instance, you will see that there's fluctuation in shutter speed and ISO to compensate for the change in light, and that can sometimes be confusing because you can't see the aperture value actually changing. But because Nikon want to be as accurate as possible, they are showing you that your amount of light based on your aperture value is changing as you get closer to that 1:1 reproduction ratio. Now, Nikon also announced the 50mm macro alongside the 105mm macro. Unfortunately, I don't have the 50mm macro yet, so as soon as I get one of those, I'll also then do a very similar video and similar tests around that 50mm macro. If there's anything you want to know specifically about the 50mm, let me know in the comments below and I can talk to you about that as well. So I hope you found this video about the 105mm macro useful. I hope you like my new office as well. If you've got any questions, if there's anything you want to ask about, then please do put them in the comments below and I'll try and get back to as many of you as I can. If you have enjoyed this video, if you have found it useful, then please do give it a thumbs up. It really helps me, it really supports the channel as well, so please do give it a like. And as always, drop a comment if there's anything you want to talk to me about or if there's any questions that you've got. So as always, thank you so much for watching. Goodbye. Hey everybody, in today's video, we're going to be taking a look, I almost dropped it.